Okay, welcome back to another episode of Banking Without Borders. So Revolut is changing and fast. They're building an airport lounge in Copenhagen. It opens next year and they're calling it the biggest in the Schengen area. Now on its own, that's just a fun story about a bank with too much money. But in the same few weeks, Revolut also quietly shrank a benefit. Metal and Ultra customers lost access to a load of WeWork spaces, including the whole of Paris. And they recently swapped out Perplexity Pro for a cheaper version of ChatGPT. There was no announcement besides a tweet, no email, users just get less. So in this episode, we're going to dig into what's actually happening at Revolut because we think these changes are all connected and there's one driving force behind the lot. And this isn't going to be a Revolut is getting worse episode. It's more like a Revolut is becoming something else episode. And I'll let you decide whether that something else is better or worse. And as always, do let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So Jan, should we just kick off with the lounges? What have they actually announced?
Johnny, Revolut just announced that they're going to launch their own Revolut branded lounge in the Copenhagen airport in 2027. They're not going to run this on their own. So they're not going to go into catering, these kind of logistics. They're going to stay a bank. Plaza Premium Group is going to handle that for them. Plaza Premium Group, they run launches, many launches, which you actually currently already have access to if you subscribe to Revolut Ultra with their lounge key. Should give you access to most Plaza Premium launches at least. And this Revolut branded launch is built as the largest common use launch in the Schengen area. So it's going to be quite a thing, most likely. And they also describe it as a blueprint to scale across other European markets from 2027 and beyond. So you'll most likely see other Revolut launches pop up. And what's not clear is who gets access. I assume Revolut Ultra members probably get access. You'd expect that at least, free of charge. Maybe metal members, maybe premium members. I doubt you'll get free access with a standard plan, but maybe. Yeah, if that's the case, actually, take my word for it. I'm going to fly to Copenhagen to take a look at that launch myself and see what I think about it.
So why do we think they're doing this, Jan? Launching lounges, besides the fact that they are, well, desperately trying to not just look like a physical bank or a digital bank, I should say. They obviously want to look like something more than just a bank. Why do you think they're going to be doing this? This episode is sponsored by no one really, just Jan and I and our website, DepositScout.com. There you can go and track UK savings rates to find the best savings accounts available. We track easy access accounts, cash ISAs, fixed rates, notice accounts, junior ISAs if you have children, lifetime ISAs, stocks and shares ISAs. We've got pretty much every UK account available. We also track switch offers as well. There's loads of features that I really like about Deposit Scout. Jan, do you want to just share one? What's your favorite?
My favorite feature is the rate history graph, Johnny, because it quickly tells you which products are worth signing up for right now and which are not. As an example, eToro's Cash ISA offers 4.87%, which is the top of the table, but it's also, if we look at the rate history graph, the all-time high of whatever they've offered in the past, 4.8%. They've never offered so much in interest, and it's definitely a good option right now. The rate history graph allowed me to uncover this within a short time. And that's why I love it so much.
So DepositScout.com is free to use. Link in the description box. We'll put it in the show notes. Check it out. It's the best way to support Jan and I. That's DepositScout.com. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a good question, Johnny. Pressure. Being a bank is boring. Being a bank is a boring business. We're going to talk about Revolut's valuation in just a bit, but I think that's the core reason. Besides that, I could also imagine that Launch Key, these other services, they're kind of expensive, and maybe, but it's just an assumption, Revolut will transform to a service that has their own launches, all over the world, potentially in many different airports. And then they're going to cut launch key eventually, move the subscription in-house basically, so they can control it better, because they've lost control over certain subscriptions that were included in the past that are not included in the same form at least anymore. And I could see that happening going forward. And subscription, we know that for a fact, are very, very important for Revolut. They're actually the fastest growing vertical. They're the fastest growing product. And that's why they want to keep them in place as best as possible.
Yeah,
as good as possible.
Jan is essentially suggesting that Revolut are trying to distill or remove the aggregators or the middlemen that are involved in this transaction between you, the user, and Revolut when you're booking the lounge or when you're signing up for Ultra and essentially getting Dragon Pass or Lounge Key for a year. So if they can launch their own lounges, then they can remove that cost because it's a margin issue, isn't it? Jan?
Very
It's just
long term.
eating away at their margin. That is very long term. What if Revolut use this as an opportunity to gradually just get rid of Lounge Pass and Dragon Key? Possibly the product starts to gradually decline in the access to lounges that you get. Maybe it just vanishes altogether. Maybe Metal no longer get discounted lounge passes. They can say that, okay, but we're replacing it with access to Revolut lounges. Possibly at that point, they'll have 5 to 10 lounges available, Jan, and they can say goodbye to Dragon Pass, goodbye to Lounge Key. You'll get less lounge access, but at the same time, you'll get free lounge access to Revolut lounges. That might be on the extreme end, but I think a cynic would say something like that, particularly given Revolut's recent behavior in terms of, I don't want to say enshittification of their product because it still is genuinely fantastic for the right person, but we have seen a decline in the value that they're offering.
Could you imagine that happening in the next 6 to 7 years, Johnny? Actually, I'm quite convinced it will happen, but yeah, could also be wrong, obviously, but it feels like it surely. Revolut is getting worse partly, and we see that in other areas. We've discussed it actually, I believe, a month or 2 months ago, that they raised the prices within the European Economic Area on certain subscription plans, and then they added some subscriptions in there with questionable use. We had Lovable, which was basically a tier that doesn't exist anywhere else. We had Laundry Heap with very low credits. We had Flow, which is a subscription for menstrual cycle tracking. So it's only useful for, I assume, half of Revolut's users. And then we had Duolingo, Super Duolingo, which I'm not sure if you're subscribed to the paid tier of Duolingo, Johnny. I'm not, I can tell you that. And I have no need to do that.
No.
Not desiring to upgrade at all.
No.
So it just felt like they were getting more expensive for no obvious reason, you know? They're trying to find an excuse to raise the price. So not a lot of people are angry about it. And I think that's gonna continue happening. And we'll see that in the UK very, very soon. And we see that with other subscriptions being removed or maybe being tightened a little bit in a way that the user doesn't necessarily experience it right away or feel it right away. Recognize, that's actually the word I was looking for. And they still think they're going to continue receiving the same value that they used to get, but they're not anymore, actually.
The worrying thing is, though, Jan, it's like if you just look at the numbers for a moment, retail customers are up 30% from 2024 to 2025, year ending. Mm-hmm. People aren't exactly leaving if Revolut are getting worse. It's not pushing people away. And then we can just look at the profit before tax is up 57%. Revenue is up 46%. The numbers are favorable. They are, in Revolut's corner. People aren't leaving. They hold the power. I think that's extremely worrying because I think that means that it will probably only continue to get worse. I think we should say that the service itself doesn't necessarily get worse as new subscriptions are added. I think it's just sad for those that are subscribed to tiers like Ultra and Metal that subscribe for a purpose, like WeWork access, suddenly see tiers diminish in value or new products come in and old products go out like Perplexity Pro. Those users, I think, maybe go to Reddit, they maybe go to YouTube comments and they maybe complain about it. But if you look at the hard numbers, subscription revenue is growing while these negative changes are happening. And I think that's extremely worrying because it means they will probably continue to happen. Ultimately, I think this all comes down to that valuation, their recent valuation of $115 billion. We touched on it already, but I think this is the big driving point. The IPO is coming in the future as well. Revolut need to be seen to be growing and growing significantly because $115 billion valuation, if you look at their net profit for year ending 2025, Jan, that was 1.3 billion pounds. At $115 billion, that's a 68x multiplier. And that's why it's super important that they have these other verticals like lounges, for example, because they help investors feel more comfortable about investing that money because they aren't just an old-fashioned bank. Amex, for example, trades at 20x. I think NatWest trades at something like 14 to 15x net profit. So Revolut are incredibly overvalued for what they generate in terms of net profit. But I appreciate investors are paying for the future outlook here. But I think that's ultimately why these products come out. And who's driving it all? Yeah, and who's the driving force behind this? Because we know that it all comes down to one man's vision and potentially one man's paycheck.
Nicholas Storonsky, and he's very, very motivated to reach these valuations because part of his net worth, I would say, clearly a majority of his net worth does depend on whatever valuation Revolut will achieve. He's basically compensated partly similar to how Elon Musk is compensated at SpaceX or Tesla, where he's being awarded stakes in the company once it reaches a certain valuation. And it's actually quite clever for both Revolut and for him, obviously, because Revolut's shareholders know for a fact that there's like one guy behind them, or basically in front of them, trying to achieve whatever valuation is possible, really maximize it. Because he's intrinsically motivated, obviously. And then it's good for him because his net worth keeps rising.
The employees share the same sentiment. The culture at Revolut is cutthroat growth at all costs.
Yeah.
But
Johnny, you've said...
Go on.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to say, this is just what worries me about the business. Because I think eventually, like if you choose to go for profit and growth over, say, the value added aspect of a business, over, what Revolut was built upon, low fees, accessibility, that doesn't exist anymore. That's not a thing anymore. I don't even think this is all about banking anymore. It's quite clearly a subscription platform. And what
100%.
happens over time is those subscriptions all have a cost attached. So you look at ways that you can manipulate that cost, and that devalues the product typically in order to make more from those subscriptions. And everybody in this machine is hungry and is driven. And I think there's only one person that won't come out of this well, and it will be the end user. But that's fine. We can all leave, but we won't, because we get thrown really shiny toys like lounges.
Yeah. And Johnny, it will never reach the point where it's so bad you want to leave. And that's, I guess,
Agreed.
That makes sense, right?
Agreed.
A lot of products that enchitify, as you typically call it, a lot of products that go through this process, they end up being worse than before, but they never end up being bad. They're still the best option out there for that specific thing.
Yeah.
And I guess if you compare Revolut to other subscription bundles, it's probably still the best. And with 30% less subscriptions or less value, it will still be the best, because what else is there? I mean, you could get Klarna Max, but we've done the comparison. Maybe we can link the video in the description. It's not fair. It's not a fair comparison. Revolut is way better. And that was the conclusion back then. And if Revolut had 30% less to offer, it would still be the conclusion. Revolut is just so far ahead in terms of value on these subscription plans because there's no other real competitor. And it's been, since when did that change? Revolut is no longer a bank account. It's not a good bank account. Revolut Standard, to be fair, is actually a shit account, I would say. It's one of the worst on the market. You're not getting much.
No.
Honestly, look at the hard facts.
I don't think Revolut could argue with us on that either. Revolut Standard,
no,
at least in the UK region, is not good. Plenty of other banks are offering something better. And it is, you're precisely right. It's a funnel for a paid product. We've talked about that a lot. I think it was around the time Revolut Ultra was released, possibly 2023, late 2023, 24. I think that was the beginning of the subscription era. One of those subscriptions was WeWork, which has always been an incredible subscription for this.
Great benefit.
For this tier, hasn't it? Like, I've talked about this holding the majority of the value, because you get 3 passes, WeWork 3. For those that aren't aware, you get 3 WeWork monthly passes with Revolut Ultra. You get 1 with Revolut Metal. Depending on where you are in the world, that pass may be worth more or less. London, for example, could be more expensive, £35, £40, £50 a pass. So you're looking at possibly 150. I'm spitballing a little bit, but it could be worth £150 a month in value for a subscription that costs roughly £50 to £55. That's fantastic. And that's clearly one of the more expensive subscriptions to Revolut, Jan. It has to be, because they obviously pay WeWork every time you redeem one of those passes. So what's happened this week or last week is it looks like Revolut and WeWork have had to renegotiate. Something's happened in the background that we're not fully aware of, but what we know is that Revolut Ultra and Metal users now have access to less WeWork spaces. Some include Milan. There's no Paris WeWork availability anymore, Jan. Edinburgh. Some in London. I saw someone on Reddit complaining that they could no longer go to their WeWork space in London that they were frequently using. And so all of a sudden, people that probably had Ultra for these WeWork passes alone, because it makes sense, all of a sudden they may have lost that access entirely and wanted to get out as quickly as possible. And I think we'll see some of these really valuable benefits of these tiers, like WeWork, for example, maybe even like the FT Standard Digital, that might get chopped up next. Who knows? Because that's also full of value. We'll see that happening, though, as a result of kind of growth and profit at all costs. Whether or not this was Revolut's choice, I don't know. I don't know, Jan. I don't know what your feel is about this one. Maybe WeWork were unhappy with the contract that they originally negotiated with Revolut.
There must have been a price hike in the background, Johnny. That's what happened. Very likely.
So WeWork
must have been a price hike in the background, and yeah, I guess they might have renegotiated the contract, and then Revolut said, "Hey, that's too much. Can't we can't offer that to our customers in this form, given the current subscription price," and didn't want to raise the subscriptions again, so they probably modified the agreement in this way. But it's sad, It's really sad.
Yeah, particularly when you look at I don't want to laugh, it's not right to laugh, but Revolut are on the cusp of opening their head office for Western Europe in Paris. Paris was one of the cities where they removed WeWork access entirely.
Yeah, wow.
This is where they are saying that we are making this our home in Western Europe. You just can't go into a WeWork. I thought that was quite ironic. One thing worth mentioning, I'm sure a lot of people are already aware of this, Jan, but did you see what was happening with the chatbot after this happened? People were going to, or at least in one instance, someone went onto their Revolut app to cancel. Got put through to a chatbot when they were trying to cancel their Ultra plan. Yeah. And the chatbot told them that they'd have to pay the break fee. So they were told they would have to pay a fee for wanting to cancel a plan that no longer provided something that they subscribed to in the first place. I think that is, we've always thought this, haven't we, about these plans and these break fees. Are you allowed to break if Revolut changed the Turo credit?
Are
you allowed to break if they get rid of the NordVPN subscription? Like, is that allowed? It actually comes down to Revolut if they want to let you do that or not. In this case, they did, because it's obviously terrible optics. I'd love to hear from anyone in the comments if you have any experience with WeWork, with Revolut. Have you been on the end of this? Was there a WeWork that you were using that you can no longer access? Please do get in the comments, share your story. We'd love to hear from you.
We've seen it, Johnny. We've seen it in other areas, as you've teased in the beginning. ChatGPT coming in, Perplexity going out, and Revolut marketing this as this was an upgrade. Fascinating. We can show this tweet on the screen, but it's definitely not an upgrade in my opinion. We can also show your response, Johnny, which is actually, I think that's very, very precisely what you should have said, and you said it great. Totally reflects my opinion on it as well.
Yeah.
What happened was Perplexity went away, ChatGPT came in, and ChatGPT came in with their Go tier, which is the second best tier, I believe. It's definitely not the tier that I was subscribed to when I was subscribed to ChatGPT. Go gives you a bit more allowances, but it's priced at $8 a month.
Yeah.
Perplexity going away, and that was priced at, I believe it's $20 per month. So where is this an upgrade? I don't know. I'm looking for it, but it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad because Perplexity Pro, very unique feature, super beneficial, gives you access to different models. It's great for research. I like it personally. I think it's a great subscription. And now ChatGPT Go comes in. A lot of people likely are subscribed to ChatGPT already, but they might have not been subscribed to Perplexity, and it's kind of sad for them. Also, what I absolutely dislike about this is the fact that when you start with ChatGPT Go, I've tried it actually on my standard plan, because standard users, plus users, they get 3 months for free. And then premium users, I believe 6 months, metal users and ultra users 12 months. As soon as I wanted to sign up, I was prompted to add my credit card. And I thought, why? Why would I do that? I thought this was a benefit that came with the plan. Why would I add my credit card? And It's because this is a trial. This is a trial. This is a 3 months trial on the standard plan and plus plan, and a 12 months trial on the metal and ultra plan. This converts to a paying subscription afterwards.
You basically clicked on an affiliate link.
It's an affiliate link. Yeah, exactly right, Johnny. This is a trial.
And Jan,
they're offering a trial.
Jan said something at the beginning about how Revolut were offering this as an upgrade. Now, it's important to note that in their tweet originally, they didn't say it was an upgrade directly, but here's what they said.
Sounded like it.
Exactly. That's why I want to say this for audio listeners, and we'll put the tweet up for people who are watching on YouTube. We are delivering, this is what Revolut wrote, we are delivering a subscription used by almost 1 billion people weekly directly to our customers at no extra cost. At no extra cost is doing a lot of work here, because it is them suggesting that we're giving you this, but don't worry, we're not going to charge you any more for it. That's just how generous we're being.
Wow.
So did you go ahead with it? Did you put your credit card details in?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't. But that was not because I didn't want to. Actually was interested in trying this just to see what the rest of the sign-up flow was, but I didn't do that because I wasn't interested in another subscription I could potentially forget and then being charged for it. Plus I'm subscribed to Claude, very satisfied. And I was subscribed to ChatGPT. What's the $20 tier called? I forgot already. But the $20 tier, very satisfied. And that's better than ChatGPT Go. So there was no reason for me to change to ChatGPT Go and sign up as a paid subscription for that. No need, absolutely no need. So I didn't do it.
Yeah, well, I can't blame you. I imagine a lot of people won't be doing it as well. I can't really see why people would be drawn to grab that opportunity. I mean, it's quite clearly a funnel into paying for ChatGPT later down the road. Interestingly, when you go on the website, it still says, at least on the UK website, it still says Perplexity Pro.
Yeah, it's right there.
Instead of ChatGPT. So is it not yet available? Is this not yet being rolled out in the UK?
I think September, that's when it would replace Perplexity. That's my understanding. Okay. I'd be just curious what's going to happen if you sign up now and then claim this Perplexity benefit. Do you still get it for a whole year, or you're not going to get it? Or how's that going to work? I'd be curious. If anyone has tried that, please write it into the comments. Let us know. Enlighten us. What happened?
That's a good question. There might be something on some terms and conditions somewhere about that, but that is also a good question. I imagine the subscription continues because ultimately these are all, it doesn't matter if it's ChatGPT, Go or Perplexity Pro, they are still funnels. It's still essentially sharing your data. Revolut is sharing their user data with these companies and saying, here, try and market to these people. You can try and sell them. I imagine, you still get your 12-month Perplexity Pro subscription because it's advantageous to Perplexity Pro, because once that ends, they'll try and upsell you on the next year. Which I think is what you need to remember with all of these subscriptions. You are just in a larger data funnel, product funnel. That's essentially what it is. It's a sad fact of reality. But subscriptions keep growing, revenue keep growing, profit for Revolut, and they will continue. They will continue to introduce more subscriptions as well. Have no doubt about it. I don't believe for a second that we'll see less subscriptions. We'll see them change. AI subscriptions will change. Possibly the car rental, the VPN may change, and we may see new ones in the future. But I'm pretty certain what we're going to see more of, and we've seen this with American Express and Platinum, is this coupon book era, so to speak, where rather than giving you something that you can directly activate and start using, they'll give you credits for something that you have to go and seek out and redeem. For example, the credits that you get with, what's the AI builder, Lovable. Is it Lovable or is that the menstrual cycle? Yeah. Is that the menstrual cycle one?
No. That's the AI builder.
Thanks. Sorry. That's one of those subscriptions where it's very niche.
Right?
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those subscriptions whereby a lot of people can make use of it, but even more people can't, I imagine. And you've got to really seek out to redeem those credits. They don't roll over. Oh no, I shouldn't say they don't roll over. They do roll over. Correct me if I'm wrong. They roll over, I think you get 3 months of rollover with that subscription and then they expire. That's definitely worth confirming quickly. But my point is, with Lovable, I think they don't roll over.
Johnny, Lovable gives you 100 credits per year. Okay, per year. Okay, there's no plan on the Lovable website that gives you 100 credits per year. I still have that in my mind. I was furious when I read that. So this is like a light trial. a light trial. So you get a 1-year subscription, but only 100 credits. Ridiculous. You can't make use of that. You'll burn through these credits in one session. And then you will think, oh, how can I modify the product if I don't have any credits anymore? Well, guess what? You have to upgrade. You have to recharge. You have to buy
more
credits.
tokens.
Exactly. So this is a very, very clear trial.
I did get it confused with Laundry Heap, which is the same thing.
Yeah, Laundry Heat, that rolls over.
And this is what we mean about Revolut changing, and arguably for the worse, arguably not. I'm sure some people can get in the comments and tell us that they really like using Revolut. And I still like using aspects of Revolut as well, personally. I think that's the power of Revolut, isn't it? That they can arguably diminish a product, but still hold control of the market and be the big player. You know, this is what we mean by Revolut is changing. Things are deteriorating, and what we can expect to see in the future probably won't be that favorable or that generous as they chase as much profit, monetization, as much revenue as possible, because on their backs are massive investors, companies with billions and billions of dollars on the line that need Revolut to succeed. And in order to succeed, they need their costs to come down and the money they generate to go up. It's frightening, Jan. It's funny, isn't it, how, Jan, the tide has changed to some degree with Revolut, I think. Like, if you're listening or watching this, what is your perception of Revolut at this point? I'd love to hear from you. My view has shifted. I think Jan would agree. I mean, me and you, weren't we talking about Revolut as if they were like the next Jesus, the second coming of Jesus? Do you remember, like, 2022, 2023, the amount of times we probably had conversations about how good Revolut were, and particularly from a fees perspective.
I just had in my mind Nicholas Storonsky next to Jesus, and I was wondering if they look any similar, but I think they don't, actually. The hair would need to grow a little bit longer, might would have to become a little bit darker in order to see similarity, but that's just me, Johnny.
Revolut went from Luke Skywalker to Darth Vader in this story, maybe.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
Well, that's a transition that makes sense. Is it all negative? It's probably not all negative, but I'm wondering, Johnny, we see it on the paper here, right? We know for a fact that Nicholas Storonsky has an additional stock package that's being triggered at $200 billion of valuation. That would basically award him 40% of the company in total. In order to reach these huge valuations, what do they need to do? You know, and for sure the product has to become a little bit worse in order to achieve that, because the profit needs to rise, the margin needs to rise ideally at the same time. They're in a hyper-growth phase, and they need to continue that for the next few years, else the story's over, the bubble will burst, the thing will be evaluated as a bank and not as a, what is it even? Is it a subscription company? I don't know. Is it
like a tech bank, like if it, I know, fintech. I don't know if it's a fintech anymore though.
What is it? Yeah, good question.
What is it?
I'd be curious what everyone listening thinks about this. Write into the comments. Let us know what you think Revolut is. I'm not sure anymore. I don't think there's any term in the world that can describe this. It's a thing. It does what it does. It's growing fast, and it's aiming to reach $200 billion of valuation, ideally pretty soon, so Storonsky gets his stake. Can buy another mega yacht.
Without paying the broker. If anyone's not familiar with that story, Storonsky recently basically shafted the broker of a yacht deal. I think he went out there, Jan, looking to buy a yacht, spoke to a broker who recommended one, found him one, and then instead of buying through the broker, he went straight to the dealer.
We don't know the details, Johnny, of this. If this could have been all legit, but news were reporting on it, and that's when we became aware of it.
That maybe that tells you something about the man behind Revolut. You know, he's shrewd, isn't he? He's very shrewd. He's very driven, and he is the driving force behind Revolut changing what is arguably for the worst in that, you know, this desperate chase for maximum value for shareholders. In the coming future, Revolut will change dramatically. Things will happen, and be prepared for that. The best thing you can do is, before signing up for any of these subscription tiers, don't go into it looking for just one product, because that one product is fickle and it could disappear in a moment, and you may have to pay a break fee to get out of that contract. So if you're interested in Ultra, if you're interested in metal, try at least to pin your usage or your interest on a couple of other products that are benefits or features that are available, not just WeWork, for example.
Very well said.
Okay, everybody, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Get in the comments, and if you want to take the conversation further, come over to the Discord. I'll put a QR code up on the screen right now, links in the description box or the show notes. Come join the server, become a founding member. We've got over 100 members now. It's growing. The community's cool. People are talking about a lot of stuff, from Revolut to Monzo to printers to cards to taxes to mobile contracts. It's a great place to learn. And if you want to support the show and you're watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to this, Apple, Spotify, however you get your podcast, do consider giving us 5 stars. That's it. I'm not very good at wrapping these shows up, Jan. Have you got anything else to add?
Done.
Done.
Goodbye, everyone.
Done. Goodbye. Take care.
It's been a pleasure.